The Fae and the Vineyard's Hidden Otherworld. It was a long time ago when the two-headed Danann people lived upon the earth as you and I live. Birth, death, and toil in between. Yes, my love, that was a long time ago. You see, the two-headed Danann were the first people of a beautiful island far off to the east of us in the North Atlantic Ocean. A more beautiful island would be very hard to find, so some come close. It was as if Mother Earth itself had made a spot for her nest. Now the colour of the island is what makes it so very striking. Green, a pure green that only nature can make. A green that has depth to it, a soul. Indeed, a mix of blue, yellow, and the finest beeswax, so as to make it shimmer in the sun. The reason it was so green was that the two-headed Danann were joined with plants through the spirits. The two-heads took many forms: animal, birds, wind and water, old men, young babies, tiny people no bigger than a dandelion. And the earth itself, they were known to other peoples as the Fae, and were very rarely glimpsed by outsiders. At the end of their lives, which is very long compared to ours, the spirits became absorbed into the plants around them, and they continued to live in another form. It is no wonder that the two-headed Dananns had a lineage of people known as the Keepers of the Plants, whose only job was to ensure the survival of the plants. If a plant became extinct, then so would a star in the heavens, and once the stars were out, the world would be in a blackness again, as it was in the beginning, and all things would die. The ocean seemed to bless the island also. Though the island stood in the coldest of oceans, it had a warm stream that floated by, bringing mauzy wet days that made a perfect haven for plant life. The plants varied from being so lush in some areas that they would fill your lungs with their scent, or your vision with their beauty and colour, to so scant and arctic in other parts of the island that you might not notice them at all, and smell them only on a faint wind if searching for it. Now every year in August, the Keepers of the Plants held a festival called Lunasa. The entire island came to thank their ancestors for the fruit and seed to eat, fibres for cloth and limbs for shelter and fire. They dressed in forest costume, played music, danced around fires, to thank the plants with all the prayers, and with their protection like a shepherd to his sheep. Most importantly, they saved their seeds, making sure never to let one become extinct. As all good things do, this too came to an end. One year, when the Festival of Plants was in full swing, a strange quiet came over the island, an eerie nothingness. Ships with red sails were spotted on the horizon. Right to where the sun was setting, they were coming closer, and the elders knew what was happening. The time had come for the invasion that was foretold. They gave the signals to the Keepers of the Plants to get the seed collection and the saplings, and set sail in a mystical boat made of wood from their ancestors. The boat could fade away before your eyes. They knew they had to find a new island to house the plants, so they would not be stolen by the incomers, who wanted the plants for their magical powers. They sailed and sailed for many a day and night until they hit another island. Meanwhile, the two-headed Danann prepared themselves for the battle. The incomers came ashore with long beards, painted faces, and swords of metal. The two-headed Danann went bravely down to the shore to meet their destiny. When the incomers drew their swords to strike, the swords went right through the two heads, and they vanished into the mist. The incomers could not find them anywhere. They settled the island and mixed with more and more invaders, and the two heads never lived as humans again. From that day on, they were known as the fairies or the Fae, and they often get up to mischief to get back at the invaders for taking their island. Now the Keepers of the Plants sailed away that day, and eventually found a small, beautiful island many miles away. They landed upon the sandy shore, and it reminded them a bit of their home. The sand was beautiful, and the beaches were lined with rose hips, beach plums and bayberries. There were beautiful plants everywhere, and they decided this would be the place to keep the plants and seeds in safety. They pushed the boat out to sea and trekked inland to find a safe, secluded spot. It was here they set up the plant nursery and collection. The area was guarded digitally from all directions. It was known to them as the Otherworld. It is still here today if you know where to look and how to act. To enter the enchanted gardens, first one has to really look at nature, to believe the spirits are in the trees and plants and that breathe out as we breathe in. You must believe they hear you when you speak and they sense a kind soul, and then you may be shown into the other world. Look for a large nest. It is a nestle of dragons. It guards the entrance. The mother dragon flies over the other world throughout the day, watching for signs of invaders, coming back often to feed her chicks. The best chance to get by is when she has left the nest. You have found the nest. Do not touch the dragonlets, or they will squeal. Run by. You have entered the other world. The first spot you have come to is the Sassafras Grove. It is a spot for meetings held by the guards of the garden. They decide on the best way to keep their world protected and hidden. Who let in and who to keep out. They love to guzzle the sassafras tree made from the roots of the trees when off duty. Here you see the schoolhouse. It has one Fail Lou named after the king of the Tuatha Danann. He is in the shape of a right-tailed hawk and teaches the youngsters the history of the people and their purpose. He also teaches the young Fae the written language, as well as oral stories, as not all Fae have 5 senses. Some cannot see, some cannot hear, and some do not speak. They have their own written symbols and use bark to write on. Everything they use will eventually go back to nature. Now you see the music tree. It is called a sweet gum tree, and sweet music comes floating through the trees and throughout the days as the musicians pass on the songs of long ago to the students. Some are ballads of history, some are music for ceremony, and some just for fun. They choose these trees for the schooling because on the way across the Atlantic, there were two musicians who played the music together. They were more in love than any other fae had ever been. On the way across the Atlantic, they died of a fever at the same moment. And when the group arrived on this island, the spirits floated about and they ruled it here, joined together forever in song and dance. If you look up, you will see they are still hugging. This area is a wise woman's den. These trees are called witch hazel trees. The bark makes a special healing substance. The wise woman teaches a select few the art of plant harvesting and healing. The notch on the edge of the meadow is where the flowering annuals are kept. This big female vine is a plant herd. The annuals tend to disappear every fall as they get wanderlust, so she has to keep them in line. Over here be aware of the tiny dresses and lady tresses, small away and never fuss, so please, please don't step on us. Here we have the mother tree. She mothers all the little fae and teaches them good from bad. They love to snuggle under her branches and hide and play. She's the kindest of souls, and in her fae forms love to be a turkey and a noble Irish elk. This is the Fae village. Walk around and see all the dwellings and castles. The Fae are probably hiding, but you might get lucky and see one. Don't forget to visit the council tree. He contains the spirit of the deity Lu, one of the divine beings of the original island. Here you can take the sacred oath and become a keeper of the plants. Take this oath in front of me, divine being that I be. Place a hand on your heart, a new life you know will start. Repeat these words with all your soul, then take a brooch for within the bowl. I promise never to rip off bark, or crack a limb just for a lark. When climbing trees I will be soft, remembering the spirits aloft. On little plants I will not tread, for fear I'll squish a little head. Kind of heart I'll always be, when I'm around a plant or tree.